Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. As you can see, I'm all alone here. I don't have any adult supervision. He had he had something that called him away. He's going to try and join if he gets back home in time. I sent him the invite. I'm not sure if he's going to make it, but if he does, it'll be a happy surprise. If not, we'll run with what we have. Um, hey, oh, JG, this is okay. This is your account. I remember now. What's going on? How are you? Join us over on YouTube. Got a couple over here on Rumble with us. Probably some of our normal reoccurring viewers. Appreciate you guys joining. As you guys know, Green Beret Life. Matt started this back several years ago, and we're actually now on episode 310. Is the number of episodes as of today. So Matt's been doing this for a minute. I picked up with him a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, maybe. I don't know. It's all run together. When you get old, the days run together. But we've got some pretty good stories here today. I'd picked some out thinking Matt was going to be here to have a couple. So we'll try and get the show to an hour. If we finish up discussion a little early, then, we all get to go to bed a little early. But, well, before we get into that, hope everyone had a happy 4th of July, 250 years. We had family come over, went to the river and hung out for a little bit, did some burgers, did fireworks on Friday, and then it got entirely too hot and muggy outside to be fun. So we called it quits and came back Saturday and did some more. So we celebrated for 2 days. But I hope everybody had a good one. It was nice to have kind of a low-key family come over, family visit, and just, hang out and not be around a whole big crowd of people, which is one thing I don't like doing. But yeah, I hope everybody had a good holiday, a good 4th of July weekend, and enjoyed the holidays with family. But for our stories here, we've got several. There has been a task force in Memphis that, as of right now, they've arrested over 10,000 people since September. And it's amazing. We're going to look at that story, and they're everywhere. Everything from illegal immigrants to gang members, child trafficking. Just it's been an insane task force that has been putting in work. I mean, since September, so that's what, 9 months ago, 10 months ago. So that's over 1,000 people a month they're arresting. That's, geez, that's just an outrageous number. It's ridiculous what they're finding and the investigation, the work that's going into getting these people off the streets. We're going to talk about that story a little bit. We've got a story that's come out because everybody knows how much rent and home prices have skyrocketed over the past 5 to 8 years. It's been an enormous amount with houses and rent, everything, just availability as well. When you can find it, you can't afford it. There's been a study that's come out that has said the illegal immigration surge under Biden has accounted for 30% of the price in the 30% of the growth in price for homes and 20% of the growth in price for rentals. And it's the availability. When you have that many people surge into an area without a ramp up period to absorb them, it affects housing. It affects the school systems. It affects the hospitals, because these things grow as a community does, just organically as people move, as population increases, the area around grows up to support that, whether it be, again, hospitals, schools, housing, apartment complexes, suburbs, whatever, they grow over time to support the people as the population increases. But when you have just millions of people flood in with no ramp up time to be able to support, shortages cause, an increase in price. And that's what's happened here. We've got a couple of stories that talk about different aspects of that. And the next story we have here is Mamdani's socialist utopia of New York City. And granted, this isn't on him, but it is a reflection of the leadership of New York City for the past 20 years. Nearly half of public schools are failing. The kids are failing core subjects in New York. And these aren't new stories. They come out every couple of years, how it's amazing how these kids are nobody's, it'll be 20% are at, meet or exceed standards or whatever. And the continuing cry is throw more money at it. But when the money is being eaten up by staff and by administration and not getting to the students in the forms of, quality teachers, or the teachers aren't being allowed to teach, or the bad teachers are being kept on because of unions. It's not a simple problem by any means, but it's the problem perpetuates itself by having these teacher unions, by teaching there being no consequences for anything. They can't kick these students out because they get funding based on the number of students that they have. So every disruptive student that's kicked out, they don't get money for it, but that disruptive student is affecting the education of the other 23 students in that room. And they're just stories everywhere when you see on some of these videos of parents at school board meetings, talking about how their child's classroom has to be evacuated multiple times a week because of a single student, the same student, and nothing is ever done. And it's just not an environment that is conducive to learning for these kids. That kids are easily enough distracted as it is. You give them an excuse, or you make it an environment where they feel like they can't, engage and relax and be comfortable, because who knows when the next stapler is going to come swinging across the room. They don't tend to do well. And, these schools are reflecting that. One of the other stories we have here, and this is a big one, and JG mentioned something about it in chat here, and we kind of touched on it last week. Mitch McConnell's been missing in action a little bit. He and I didn't realize this had happened. Apparently, on June 14th, paramedics found him unconscious at his Washington, D.C. home and performed CPR following what responders identified as a cardiac arrest. And granted, I haven't been following it super closely. It wasn't something that was really on my radar, but I didn't see anything about this in the news other than a health issue or a health concern or something to that effect. And we're going to talk about that. And of course, his staff is, he's still engaged. He's still, working for the people, and the platitudes that they tend to spout. But it reminds me of and I can't remember her name now. I was trying to think of it earlier. The one that had been hospitalized and had been out of the Senate for like months, and shows up one day in the wheelchair, and they're like, "Hey, welcome back, Senator. It's good you could come back." She's like, "Oh, I've been here." It's like, no, you haven't been here for like 6 months. You've been bedridden in a hospital. And it's just these people will not cede power. They will not step down. They're absolutely just tangled in the power and the corruption and refuse to step away from it. And they literally wind up dying in office. People will moan and complain about the Supreme Court having, their lifelong appointments. But you look at some of these districts, Republican and Democrat. I'm painting both with the same brush at this point with in this particular aspect. There is no challenge. The party, meaning the GOP or the DNC, have such a control over that state that whoever they want in that spot is going to be the one. And it's so much easier to keep an incumbent in there because of the funding they get from the RNC. That's what they do. And that leads to these people having decades in office, if they've ever even done anything else but serve that time in office, after whatever their internship in law school and 1943. But you wind up with a leadership or a membership of the House and Senate that are just so far out of touch with what the average American is dealing with and what they're going through, that they really do not represent the people they're elected to represent, because it's like Elon Musk understanding, a single mom's issue and buying groceries or something, or understanding the price of eggs and how that can affect. It's such a disparity that they don't understand it. It doesn't matter. Maybe Elon Musk is a bad example. Just some Hollywood star. Just they don't operate in the same region, the same ball field or whatever as you or I do. They're playing a completely different game. And so the things that really drastically affect you and I on a day-to-day basis, gas went from $3 a gallon to $5 a gallon. That's a huge deal. Other people, our senators that somehow come in with no money and within 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 years, are multimillionaires, still haven't had anybody be able to explain that to me. But those kind of things don't affect them on a personal level like they do you or I. And they'll get up there and they'll spout the platitudes of, fighting for the American person and the working American and blue collar this, and it means nothing to them. It's a platitude. They don't feel it the way that you and I do. It really doesn't affect them, and they're going through the motions. But they wind up getting into these offices, and like I said, the machine behind them being an incumbent, it's all designed to keep control of that seat for a specific party. And the easiest way to do that is to run on the name recognition of the guy that's been there for the last term. Now, whether he's a shitbag, a turd in a punch bowl, or whatever, most people don't know. A lot of people, they do not engage in politics and in news in such the way that we do, that the people that enjoy this show, that we engage and try and stay informed, at least the best we can with the news media that we have. And they don't know. All they know is they saw a commercial. Hey, there's Mitch McConnell again. He's been around for a while. He must be doing a good job. Otherwise, surely he wouldn't continue to be elected. So I'm going to vote for him. They just don't know. They don't watch this stuff. They don't see the fact that, Mitch McConnell has been more of a hindrance than he has been a help with, what Trump's been doing. And they just continue to vote for him because that's what they've always done. Yeah, JG made a comment, put a term limits on congressmen. And like JG, it's not a simple solution because there's so many staffers up there that are lifetime staffers as well. And honestly, they do a lot of the day-to-day in the office. They're the ones telling the senators what these bills are and which way they should vote. And if you're not going to clear out the staffers, you're just going to have, I don't know if it'd be a good thing or not, a less experienced person being directed in what to do. I don't know if it'd make a difference. It probably wouldn't. They'd probably still be doing the same thing. But I absolutely understand the want to put a limit on that. It's the only thing that feels like it would do something. Now, whether it would or not in reality, I don't know. But it does feel like something that should be absolutely explored and looked into. And yeah, talking about the senators coming in and all of a sudden making money, and Ilhan Omar's 20 million. Well, I don't think hers came from Congress. I think it came from some of that fraud up there in Minnesota. So I think she was getting some homegrown funding there, but it's AOC is one, and you can't find any solid information because there'll be reports that she's X number of millions of dollars, and then there'll be something else of, oh no, she's only got $100,000. They have to report their financials. I'm having a hard time understanding how it's so difficult to get a number on this unless it is being intentionally hidden and unless it is being intentionally, structured so that it's not really in her name. It's in her great aunt Gertrude's name. So it's not hers, but she's the beneficiary when her 98-year-old great aunt Gertrude finally kicks the bucket. Freedom says members of Congress should have to pass a test on the legislative, judicial, and executive branches before each term. A Constitution Jeopardy. There are honestly some of them. I really wonder if you ask them when they're doing their little swearing in and their what do they call it? Their orientation. If you ask them which branch of the government they're there to function in, if they would even know. I'm in the congressional branch. I really that would be a funny man on the street interview to see. But yet, JG is saying Dan Crenshaw is one for the Republican side. When Dan Crenshaw got elected, at first I was really, really supportive. It's like, oh man, there's this guy out of Texas, Navy SEAL. He's one of the guys. He's a hardcore. He's going to be no nonsense. He's going to take it to him. I've been so disappointed. I really, really have. I don't know if he was always that way and just, fooled a bunch of people. I don't know what it is. If he got into his position and realized he liked it and it was nice and cushy there, and if he played the game, he would continue to have a seat at the table. I don't know, but it's been really disappointing seeing how he has played out over the past 4 or 5 years with kind of how he's the direction he's gone in the way he's looking at things, the way he's voting. And yeah, the like Freedom said, Crenshaw lost the primary, and that was a good thing. It was, I think the people of Texas realized it. Again, he was in one of the districts where that could happen. You could have someone come in, and I guess despite him being the incumbent, he just could not overcome the dislike he had fostered in his term in the Congress. And yeah, JG said Dan Crenshaw got infested in the swamp. Yeah, I think he did. He got infected by the swamp critters. But yeah, it's amazing that's kind of what we allow and what we do and the way things function. It's the best of the worst systems that are out there. Oh yeah, I remember that. There was I don't know there was some drama between Dan Crenshaw and Sean Ryan, and I don't know if you guys know who Sean Ryan is. He has a podcast. He does a lot of very long form interviews with special operations personnel. With sometimes it's just, I think he's even in some politicians. He's done a lot of stuff, and I don't know how he got where he is. If he hit the algorithm just right, if he had funding or support to get him where he is. But apparently, yeah, there was some spat, and Dan Crenshaw made some comment. I think Sean Ryan was discussing where Dan Crenshaw's money had come from, and if he could show the how that all came about. And but there was some big comment where Dan Crenshaw kind of was like, my boys in 6 will take care of this, or something. It's basically threatening Sean Ryan that his friends in SEAL Team 6 would take care of him. And it's like, are we on the playground? They're literally adult toddlers sometimes. But let me see. I think we've got one more topic we were gonna. Oh yeah, this one I found. Graham Platner in Maine, running for that seat. He's been the darling of the left. He's like I can't remember if he was calling himself a socialist or a communist. He is of that ilk, and even to the point that he had the symbol for the members of the SS, in particular the ones that guarded the concentration camps, tattooed on his body, and expected everyone to believe that for however many decades he had that tattoo, he had no idea what it meant. Nobody ever told him what it meant, and he was just confused about it, and it didn't mean anything. Whereas we've had crap, my brain's got the dumb. Our secretary Pete Hegseth had the Jerusalem cross, a legit religious symbol icon, and the funny thing was they started pointing out, it's like that image that you're saying is a racist, is a whatever symbol, that was literally on the program at Jimmy Carter's, or not Jimmy Carter, I think JFK's funeral. One of them, some big politician, and it's like, it's they'll do anything to tear down a Republican and lie about whatever. But for this guy Platner, they're like, oh, well, he didn't know what it was, and he's since got it covered up, and this and that. And apparently, having Nazi tattoos on your body is no issue for the Democrats. But now finally they're stepping away, because after all of this other stuff that's come out, now there are actual rape allegations that are coming out against this guy. And, my belief is, my cynical belief on this is, the people in the know knew this was a possibility from the beginning. They knew the rumors were out there, but they didn't think the person would come forward with it because of pressure, or did not want the spotlight and the media attention. Because again, you got to remember, everybody else around this guy that in the area that he knew, that knows him, they're all normal soccer moms, 9 to 5, just go do their job, come home, spend time with their family. They're not desiring the spotlight. They're not looking for media attention. So for somebody to come forward with something like this, it either takes a lot to convince them to come forward, and it really doesn't take a whole lot to convince them just to keep quiet. Well, hey, if you come forward with this, they're going to start digging into your life, and see what can be done, what they can use to discredit your statements. And people just really don't want that in their life. And so for someone to come forward with this, it probably took a lot for them to do it. It probably, was a real big decision for them. But this looks like what is finally going to cause, or finally going to take for the Democrats to finally back away from this guy. You've got, he was accused of drunkenly raping this woman, and just in April, Elizabeth Warren was saying that this guy was her kind of man. She issued the statement Monday. Issued a statement Monday night after allegations that Platner drunkenly raped a 41-year-old Maine resident in 2021. And so she released a statement probably saying, now more than ever, we need leaders who reflect our values. So Nazi tattoos are cool, but, don't touch people. Hey, we've got Matt here, guys. So I have my adult supervision's back in the room.
Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Good. How are you?
Good. We've just been kind of rambling and just kind of got to the first story. In your honor, I was rambling a bit.
You were nice.
But
nice. You've learned something.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got our first story here about the Democrats finally backing away somewhat from Graham Platner now that these rape allegations have come out.
Yeah. Well, they knew this was out there, and there's more. This guy's a complete clown. They play him off. I watched, it's funny. I watched these two radical leftists that came up with him, right? They travel the country and they're like, oh, the Democrat Party needs more blue collar men to get the working class back. And they try to build up a caricature, and they find this guy. So this guy is an oyster farmer, right? Well, the oyster farmer doesn't make any money. So it's run off of an island that's some multimillionaire friend of the family, and he's supported by the parents, and everything was purchased via the parents, right? The oyster farm doesn't make any money. So his lifestyle is supported by the parents. And there's a couple things that this guy has done. You see there's one of the media shots of him, and he's wearing a Ranger Battalion shirt. He was never in Ranger Battalion. He was never a Ranger. And he has gone out there and badmouthed soldiers, injured soldiers. This guy is just a piece of garbage from the get-go. Anybody running around with the tattoo that he had on, they were worried about the crucifix that Pete Hegseth had, but this guy had the Nazi guards tattoo on his chest, and he got it, I think, in Croatia, somewhere, in Eastern Europe. And they're perfectly fine with it. They just let him black it out, and he's the future of the party because he's the man's man, right? Everything about this guy is fake, phony, and false, like the whole Democrat Party.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's just kind of like, what was it? AOC got her position by literally going to a casting call. She was.
Yep. Justice Democrats put it out, and she was
four candidates.
Yep. Her brother put her up for it, right? Put her in for it, and then they built those like Marxist like posters based around it. And here's the other thing: nobody should be fooled by this whole socialist nonsense. These people are straight up communists, straight up. So why we play along in calling them socialist is beyond me. These are full-throated communists. Yeah. So, that woman Chevrolet, whatever her name is in New York, right? She, her father's a landlord, by the way, in Florida, right? But she says every single veteran is a war criminal, and she wants to take all benefits away from veterans. That's one of her platforms, right? Wow. And these are the people, amongst other things, take people's private property, all sorts of things. So these are the type of people that we're dealing with. And this is why pretend and say, oh, they're socialists, democratic social. No, they're not. They're straight up communists. You can put whatever name you want on it. What do they say about lipstick on a pig, right? That's what it is. It's full-throated communism. So, yeah.
Well, to reflect, and like we said, we had looked at we talked about this story before. This doesn't fall on Mondami because this was going on well before he got there, but his tenure is not going to do anything to correct the ship. It's the close to half of New York City schools are failing. In 503 schools, the majority of students fail at both math and reading.
Well, you absolved Mondami. Okay, first of all, this guy who's a naturalized citizen goes out and makes this statement over 4th of July, and basically is going to tell us what America's all about. This guy right here with his fake smile.
Oh, I saw that. That was hysterical.
Yeah, where he had brand new people that just passed their immigration test standing behind him with American flags while he's espousing communism and bashing our country, right? So this guy right here with his fake smile has never had a freaking job. Never had a job. The only thing, as far as I know, right, that he's done is had small parts in some of his mom's Disney movies. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's complete. We just said fake, phony, and false. We go from one right to another.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, if you talk to anybody in New York or in the system, it's about, oh, they just need more funding, and that's the answer is always throw more money at it, and we've been doing that for 50 years, and nothing's ever happened. They don't
want it to happen. About it's by design. It's to tank our economy. Yes, here's what Democrat policies do. 503 schools, majority of students failed both math and reading. Yes, throw more money at it. We already throw more money per student than anybody else in the world. And look where we're at. This is what Democrats do. How anybody could take any of these clowns seriously is beyond me.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It is. It is. Wait, hold on, Matt. To be fair here, prior to his mayoral victory, Mondani worked as a foreclosure prevention housing counselor at the Queens-based nonprofit. And he served as a Democratic socialist in the New York State Assembly from 2021 to 2025. So,
like I said, the dude's never had a job. He's never had a real job. So,
oh, goodness. It's wow.
People that have never done anything and they're being elected. He's elected to America's largest city as the mayor. This is insane.
Well, here we go, Matt. In the mid-2010s, briefly pursued a hip-hop career under the monikers Young something as a rapper. Then became a music supervisor in one of his mother's films. Then he was a campaign staffer. Then he was a foreclosure prevention counselor. Then the socialist assembly person, and then the mayor. So yeah, no job there producing or providing or doing anything, and he becomes the mayor of New York City.
The foreclosure counselor for a nonprofit means they're going out and bashing the banks that made the loans on these homes that are being foreclosed on, and they use their political strength within the leftist shithole that New York is to try to strong arm these banks. That's
or they're taking and using the law as to tangle everything up and drag everything out, so these people can basically not pay their mortgage for years and still live in the house. Funded
because it's a nonprofit by clowns like I'm not saying that they funded this particular one, but George Soros. That's what these things do. Designed to destroy. This guy's designed to destroy. That's what he is, whether he knows it or not. He's a tool.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just curious. I was trying to see if we could see where they get their money from. They're not going to tell you that, not on their website.
You're gonna have to do.
But yeah, it's just that this is who the Democrats pick. He's someone that has done nothing with his life, but they're going to put him in charge of, one of the most powerful cities in the world. Mm-hmm. This is who's going to be selected by the Democrats and put in charge.
Anybody that's got wealth that lives in New York should get the hell out now. And any businesses that are left there should get the hell out now. And then, sooner or later, these communists aren't going to have anybody they can steal money from, right? When I say steal, you know what I'm saying, right? And they're going to collapse. And I think you need to let it. It sucks. We're going to let one of our greatest cities collapse, but you have to. These people who go and vote for this. I saw something the other day. It's 85% white women. If I know it was 85% white, but are voting for these communist candidates. That's who's voting.
Yeah, the toxic empathy.
Yeah. So 85% white. I added women. I'm not sure if women are part of the 85% or just a big chunk of that 85%. So.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. Seattle is having a huge issue with people moving after their new mayor. That right now there's 24% of the businesses
supported by our parents. Did you know this?
Yeah.
Unreal. These are people that we're putting in charge of running cities that can't support themselves.
Yeah, there are 24% of the businesses are considering relocation, with most operations headed to Bellevue or nearby states. Real estate and office vacancies. Downtown Seattle faces an empty office vacancy rate as high as 36%. Commercial property values have plunged by 46%, shedding $15 billion in overall value and resulting in $128 million drop in annual property taxes. This is what they're doing, and they were talking about. The thing I was watching was the homeless shelters they were building, the pods, and it was like for 50 of them, I forget how much it was, and there was no requirement for the person, being clean, not being on drugs, anything else, and it's just, I can't imagine the money it takes to keep those things repaired, to keep them operational, to keep them clean. You have a full staff doing nothing but cleaning and maintenance 24/7. For people that it's get what you ask for, I guess.
It's like people bending over backwards to support the recipient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything is surrounded by those who just take. And
oh yeah, big time. But I had seen that video talking about the percentage and the dollar amount. And I really wanted to find that when we start talking about New York and the issues and stuff. Yeah, JG was talking about Graham Platner being the clown and AOC the bartender. And yet George Soros it says buying radio stations.
Yep.
And it says wealthy New Yorkers need to go to Miami.
Say that again. Say the last one.
Wealthy New Yorkers need to move to Miami.
Yeah, wealthy conservative New Yorkers need to move to Miami.
Yes.
Not the liberal. Yeah. We don't need any liberals moving down here to Florida.
No, we absolutely need the caveat there because, look at what's happening in Texas with all the people coming out of California. They're too ignorant to realize they are the problem.
Yes.
They are the one that voted in what's going on in California. They voted that power structure into place.
They just don't know why everything's going to shit. It must be the Republicans and Donald Trump. That must
It's
be
the
right.
Republicans in California with all that
Yeah.
power that they wield. It's the Republicans in California.
The ones who
When
have
they
no
did
representation.
everything,
Yeah.
when they did everything they could to keep Republican from winning the governor's race.
More investigation needs to be put into that. He had a speech. He made a speech after that they were broadcasting on 4th of July, and it was phenomenal. Spencer
really?
Pratt. Yes. I'm sure somebody that's watching has seen that. But it was phenomenal. It was like I mean, it was really good. So it wasn't just some dude up there bloviating. It was really good. So it was like a motivating type deal.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like one of the stories we had talked about the other day, and just for the sake of the argument, we'll say there's no fraud in mail-in voting and the trickling in of things. It's the perception, and it can give the perception of the fraud, which undermines the legitimacy. You do everything you can to get rid of anything that leads to the perception of something happening. When you're in business, all of your books are dress right dressed. You do everything on the up and up, because if there's the perception that something could happen, then the belief is it might be happening. It could be happening. It is happening. So you do everything you can to eliminate any possibility of it, but that's by design. That is the goal. That's what they're doing. That's what they want. And they'll continue to talk around it of, well, there's not any proof of it. Well, you won't let us investigate. Well, no, why would we let you investigate if there's no proof of anything? It's it's a circular argument. The logic is ridiculous.
Speaking of rambling on, did you see that video that's going viral of these Somalis in Dublin, Ireland, in a park where they killed a dog and were cooking it in the middle of the park? Have you seen this?
No, I did not.
Yes, that's out there. Maybe we'll cover that story next week. But
Jesus,
if the world doesn't understand that these third worlders that don't want to assimilate to our culture, they can't be in the Western civilized world. They can't. So they got to go back. Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, I was just looking.
Did you find it?
I'm looking right here. And of course, it's going to be,
the media outlets are going to cover all of this up. But did you find it?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the story here. Well, one was in 2023. This one's in July of 2026. The National Society for NSPCA Cruelty to Animals launched an active investigation after the severely burnt remains of a dog were discovered in Dublin. Conditions were described as distressing. Rumors subsequently spread online alleging that local individuals caught 3 Somali men cooking the animal.
There's video of them out there doing it, and they're taking like plants and they're throwing these plants on it. And,
here's a video, but it's age restricted, and I'll need to log into X to see it. But and of course there's all sorts of, oh well, no. I love the next thing under the AI. If you're looking for general information on Somali cuisine, no, I'm good. No. Thank you. I'm not. No. Why would I look up Dublin Somali cooking dog and AI thinks I want?
Because this AI, they don't get control of this too. The AI is it's only as good as whoever is programming it,
And we know people that programming it have an agenda.
Yeah.
It's not going to give you unbiased information by any stretch. But the other story we had, Matt, was the study that's come out tying the surge in illegal immigrants under Biden to the increase in rental and home prices.
Yeah,
in the past few years.
Finally, that's coming. Everybody's known this for the last 5 years, but
well, it's like
as well as car insurance and insurance period, because none of these illegals have insurance. We've allowed them to drive without going through any really classes of any type. And when they crash into your car, it's on you.
Yep. But what am I looking for? Here it is. But yeah, so, and we had talked about this before, organically an area builds as its population increases. This hospital can't handle anymore. We're going to build another hospital. This school's getting overcrowded. We're going to build another school. We need more housing. We're going to build an apartment complex or a subdivision. That's done over years.
Footed by the taxpayer.
No, I'm talking about just through the normal process of things without the influx of immigration.
Oh, well, I was under the impression that you were talking about the illegal immigration and all of these. This is what municipalities put up, housing in their top notch for working families, even though none of them work, right? And that means in certain parts of this country, Somalis, right? And right in the middle of nice areas and everything. This is all designed to destroy. And who's paying for those working family housing? The taxpayer in the area is paying for them.
Yep.
So,
but no, my point was that, organically without illegal immigration, a place slowly builds up to support a growing population. But whenever you have millions of people influx to an area, there's not that time for things to grow with a slowly increasing population. It's all bombarded at one time. So you go from, a housing market that's slowly increasing as the population does to a housing market that's slowly increasing and the population jumps. Well, now the housing's got a huge premium on it because there's not enough to go around. And and that's what happens. That's why prices go up. Supply and demand. There's too few houses, too many people looking for them. And it's amazing that it takes these
and the government funding all of these, the housing for these illegals, where you have homeless veterans. How can you even consider providing homes for illegals when you have homeless veterans? Give me a freaking break.
Not even that, Matt. I mean, you literally had Biden sending planes to other countries to load them up with people to dump them into middle America.
Why would, now let's think about this logically. Why would anybody flood our country full of unskilled third world immigrants who have no desire to assimilate into our culture, right? Who will never be a tax base, right? They'll only be a tax drain, but they'll let the media go out there and say, oh, they're a boon to our economy because they take the money that we give them and go and spend it for food. Oh, you missed a little part there. The money that the taxpayers
I can spend my own money just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
How do they generate more economic benefit by spending my money than I would by spending my money?
But the only reason why you would do that is to destroy. You would destroy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not bringing in doctors and lawyers or even tradesmen or any of this. You're not bringing any of that in. You're not even
bringing in low-skilled factory workers. We don't have factories anymore. We send all those to China.
You're only bringing these people in to collect our taxpayer dollars and to vote to keep Democrats in power, period.
Yes.
And provide menial labor that isn't covered because the government comes in and subsidizes everything else. So they get big corporations on board by saying, hey, we're going to bring you a bunch of Somali third worlders in, and you can put them in your turkey factory and pay them, $12 an hour, where you'd have to pay an American $17 an hour. So you pay them $12 an hour, and here's what we'll do. We'll bring them to this small town. We'll destroy this small town. They can work in your factory for $12 an hour, and then we'll subsidize, we'll buy up and pay for all the housing for them, the education for them, and everything else. And now we're in the position that you were just talking about a few minutes ago. Right there. You destroy the infrastructure, you destroy everything using the taxpayer's own dollar to pay for it. For people that never want to even pretend to be American. So, yeah.
I mean, and even the ones that do, it takes until the second or third generation for them to be assimilated and, you know, educated for professional, you know, work. That's
in Minnesota, you're dealing with the second, third generation Somalis now.
Well, that's why I caveated with the ones that want to.
Yeah,
but yes,
and 86% or something like that are on welfare, taking welfare. I mean, these are
these are the working families, right?
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely. If somebody really wants to come to America, they do it the right way, and then they're not here taking a handout. They're working. They're paying taxes. They're trying to do the right thing. We're all about it. No matter where they come from, we're all about that. When someone comes here to leech and to take handouts from your taxpayer money, from the Democrats, live in nicer places than you live in while you're paying for it, right? As they destroy those nice places and everything else, go out and create crime, never assimilate or do anything, and just vote Democrat and cheat and go and harvest ballots and strong arm people to vote a certain way and to go and vote in multiple districts. Like, this stuff isn't happening, right?
And they're just indignant because they're owed stuff.
Correct. They're told that.
Freedom posted, and I didn't hear about this. Apparently, Robert De Niro had a Manhattan penthouse that he was renting out to some struggling artists that trashed the place, led to $300,000 in repairs.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, could happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah. Good for him.
And JG says there's too much Californication in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely. I mean, well, if you want to see how Washington State and Oregon got ruined, you're seeing it right there from California.
Yep.
That's who did it. So that's who's currently destroying Utah and Idaho as we speak.
Yeah.
Montana. Yeah. It's like a cancer.
JG said these Somalis are truly from the third world, and Troy corrected him and said the third world.
The third world, exactly. Both are true.
Both are true. But the last story we have here is this one here. This Memphis task force has arrested over 10,000 people since September. Mm-hmm. And it's a multi-agency task force, but they've arrested, I mean, it's everything from illegal immigrants to gang members, weapons trafficking, child trafficking, just everything. I mean, they have been cracking down and doing the work. They said, you know, they continue to recover juveniles almost every day.
Yeah, missing 14-year-old girls.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. This is U.S. Marshals.
As of June 10th, Operation has surpassed 10,000 arrests and resulted in the seizure of over 1,700 illegal firearms. Arrested suspects on homicide, firearms, narcotics, sex offense charges, while locating 154 missing children since the initiative began. So that this has been going. They've been finding almost 10 kids a month.
Wow.
So over that, probably 12 to 15 kids a month. They're reporting the effort has coincided with a 43% decline in homicides, 50% reduction in robberies, 33% drop in sexual assaults, and 32% decrease in aggravated assaults. And you know, Matt, you are law enforcement. The law enforcement knows the 10% of the population that is committing the 90% of these crimes. They just the justice system just refuses to keep them incarcerated. You know, it's the same population committing the crimes. It's not It's not, anarchy out there. It's a small contingent that are the ones doing it.
Well, I think a lot of Americans are copped on to a lot of this, and they've had enough. Even inner city Chicago, the residents have had enough. And you're starting to see some real pushback come back against Brandon Johnson and the whole crew that runs Crook County, Illinois, right?
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to get red-pilled en masse, even in the inner city of Chicago. So good things are happening too. This isn't all doom and gloom, but we need.
And to be fair, Memphis has been a shithole for a while. So, but that 43% and 50% decrease in homicides and robberies, that's no small task.
Oh, huge. That's huge. I mean,
well, and that's my point of it being huge. If it were, 3 homicides a year and they reduced it to 2, wow, they decreased it by 33%. No, Memphis, to decrease Memphis by that number, that's a lot. That's a big number.
Do you ever go walking in Memphis?
Not if I can help it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
No, I've got family that lives there. I stay away from that place as much as possible.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that whenever you have an administration that is dedicated to something because it is the right thing to do, change can happen versus an administration that is running things by poll. And as soon as someone has a tweet go viral, they shit their pants and back off of it. Trump doesn't care. He knows that what he's doing is the right thing in Memphis, in Minnesota, and in these other places. And these people can shit their pants on Twitter all they want. Trump doesn't care. He isn't swayed by it.
Before we go, I wanted to mention this. Has anybody seen that movie, Citizen Vigilante?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's getting
it's #1 movie on Amazon. Okay, the movie is low budget, but the concept is really good. And I listened. It's a German producer, and he wrote it and produced it. And this guy, they interviewed him on Newsmax, and boy, he could be a star here in the United States because, dude, he's to the right of you and me. And they banned the film in Germany. Yeah, I mean,
this is banned in Germany.
He says all the right things. And I would suggest anybody go out and get it and keep this roll going. Elon Musk, because they banned it in Germany, I think, as a couple other European countries.
JG Musk says the UK as well.
Yeah. So Elon Musk broadcast it for free for 2 days on X. Right. And it's even all of this #1 movie on Amazon. So, go out and support this guy because he's telling the right message. The movie is okay, but it's the right message. But when I say right message, I'm not saying it's what people should do. What I'm saying
is
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's telling what's going on to Europe. When I say the right message, he's describing the story of what is happening to Europe and here in the United States, the whole Western world. So you're seeing movies cover all of this up. This movie's not covering any of that up. So I would go and support that movie just to support it for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to look. I thought I had seen it on Amazon, but it was still, I think, where you had to pay for it. I don't remember how much it was.
It's like $5. It's $5. Yeah, and it's Armie Hammer. He's a big star that plays the main role. He's the one who's the vigilante, and he's not saying he's a good guy, and that's what nobody's saying that's what you should do. But it's a story of somebody getting pissed off enough, and a whole group of people getting pissed off enough. And what I'm saying is the right message is it's telling the story of what unmasked, illegal, unfettered immigration from the third world into the Western world, which is not compatible for this. And, basically these countries bending over backwards for these criminals to come in and victimize their citizens. And that's the real message of the movie. And it's time that a movie shows what's really going on instead of creating an alternate narrative to more align themselves with what the globalists have planned for the destruction of Western Europe and Western civilization.
Well, we're constantly being told that what we see from people walking around with video cameras in the UK and these squares and everything, and the way the people there are acting, we're constantly being told that's not true.
Oh, yeah,
you're lying eyes. Are you gonna believe me or you're lying eyes? Which is it? And it's people, like you said, are really starting to wake up and be like, wait a minute, these media, conglomerates, they really don't have my best interest at heart. They're
exactly. Do you know who Kurt Kaz is?
What's the name again?
His name's Kurt Kaz. So he had a huge YouTube channel, but what he used to do is he would go to like Colombia, and he'd like meet the locals. He'd go everywhere. Like there would be no place he wouldn't go, even out in the country, everywhere. And he would just explore and show, meet people and talk to people and this and that. Well, he's now almost exclusively back in his home country in Germany, and they walk around. He's showing the drug dealing and this and that. And
I may have seen him. I just didn't know who he was. Yeah,
migrants flipping out, saying, "You can't record," and he's like, "Fuck you! I can record in my own country. Leave my country. How about that? If you don't want people to see you dealing drugs in the park, don't deal drugs in the park." And he's got a bodyguard with him.
I have seen him. I just didn't know that's who he was. Yes, I have seen his videos, and that was kind of what I was referring to in my head when I was saying, you see these videos of people walking around and documenting that, and then the news comes on and say that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Or the grooming gangs,
Great Britain, Kurt Kaz in Germany. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson and the grooming gangs in the UK, and they're like, no, that doesn't happen. It's just something's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it's not going to be pleasant when that happens.
This is why the European Union's pushing back so hard against X. This is why they're pushing all these hate speech laws and everything else, right? So it's the gig is up because everybody sees exactly what's going on.
Right. Yeah, Freedom said he had read about the movie. The plot seemed similar to Death Wish, which was kind of what I thought whenever I'd seen
it's a European version of Death Wish, but it's with modern scenarios.
Yeah, kind of on a modern background.
Yeah, that's what it is, with using modern scenarios like the mass third world immigration into Europe. And the government's backing off, doing nothing about the criminalization against their own citizens and punishing those who speak up. So,
did you know that Jeff Goldblum was in the original Death Wish with Charles Bronson?
Was he one of the bad guys?
He was one of the bad guys that broke into his house and assaulted his wife.
Yeah. And
I watched the original back. I think maybe it was when at the time the new remake came out. The old one, I found it somewhere and watched. I'm like, that dude's familiar. And he was one of the bad guys at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything for the fine folks that joined us this evening?
Hey guys, like every week, I tell you, thank you so much for being a patriot. Thank you for taking part in this. It's small, but there's a lot of information going back and forth from you guys to us, and hopefully we pass on some information too. But we need to get people educated out there as to what's really going on, so people can see beyond the nonsense. You're seeing it right now with the influx of all of the people coming to our country for the World Cup and being like, wait a second, this is nothing like I've been told by the media in my own country. This phenomenon is not an isolated incident. So thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing the information you guys do. Live in freedom every day.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope everybody had a great 4th, 250 years. Matt and I have made it 310 episodes, but we will see everybody next Tuesday. We'll have some more stories. talk about some more things, and see everyone then.
Take care.